Hi, welcome to Hindsight in 2021. I'm Kiera. I'm the founder of the Frame of Life project. It's designed to empower mamas to overcome the overwhelm of your photos and start sharing some of those stories that live inside of you. I am a mama of two, and I gave birth to my pandemic baby, Charlie, in April 2nd of 2020. And I'm here with Megan. Let's go.
Hi. I am Megan. I founded Unmasked Motherhood, and I created the outlet based on the idea that everyone has given birth to something, and that what we've given birth to should be celebrated. And I am a mom of one. My son was born in June of 2020. And so I feel ready to start processing my motherhood journey. And the journey started during the pandemic, which was, for me, I was 5 months pregnant in 2020 when the pandemic began or began to directly impact us. And so even though I'm ready, I am ready. I keep telling myself, I'm ready. But I struggle with knowing, I struggle with knowing where to start. I struggle with knowing how to start. And I struggle with knowing when I'll be able to find the time and the space to start. I'm overwhelmed. So that's the truth of the matter. I am overwhelmed, although I know that I doubt that I'm ready to start processing. And so I'll let Kiera tell you more about why specifically we're here today, because I know that's your jam.
Girl, it is my jam, and I so get it, and I think that I'm like right in it with you.
Yep.
I do this for a living. I help people overcome the overwhelm of all of their photos and process those stories. But I am also a mom who had a baby in the pandemic, and I have that like same twang in my heart where it's like, am I ready for this? Like, what kind of mood do I have to be in to sit down and start to process it? But I'm ready too. And I think that that's what we both have created this program for, to just start. And you got to start somewhere. So I
Yeah.
really wanted to just record our conversation as I kind of map out where I'm going to go with it when I like want to sit down and start tackling this project. But also just to like support each other through it, because
Yeah.
it's kind of cool how there's a little tribe of us mamas who had welcome babies during this time and have been through very different journeys. Like it depends on like when you had your kid and how
Yeah.
old they were when the pandemic started and all of that. We all have different experiences, but I think we can really bond in that and
Yes.
really start to document.
Okay. So I'm ready to start. And with that, just how do I start? Genuinely, how do I start?
So, dude, the way I want to start is just like asking you some questions that I think are going to
Yeah.
drive your gut to start identifying moments and documenting those.
Yeah.
So, what drives me, like, I don't even know exactly where we want to like really begin, but like maybe we begin at where were you when pandemic life changed? And can you think of a moment that you just knew like life from now
Yeah.
on is not going to be the same? Because it feels like
Yeah.
that, doesn't it, a little bit?
It does. And so you helping me with the where brings up certain memories. For me, the where and where the pandemic started to directly impact me and my journey towards becoming a mother. I was 5 months pregnant. We had just, or no, it was, we had, we were seeing Celine Dion. So the where was at the Celine Dion concert. My family, my mom and my sisters are with me. We have followed Celine as long as I've been alive. She's obsessed with her, and we were so looking forward to this concert. So the where was we were at the concert. It was March 9th of 2020, and we were at the concert, and we didn't. We knew that something was about to change, but it was still safe-ish at that time. So we went. We enjoyed this wonderful moment together, or series of moments. And after that, I wasn't able to see my family until after my son was born in June. So that was the moment. The concert I think for me was the moment in time that when you said where, I can revisit and find something that I have tons of photos of and tons of videos of, because I am a oversharer with myself and my family, and sometimes on social too. But it's the where was that concert. It was the last time I was
Yeah.
with my family. So how, what do I do with the where? So I've got the where. Like how,
So you've got the
what do you
where.
recommend?
And now, so what I like to tell people to do after that is once you've identified those moments, I bet as you're talking, you're
Yeah.
seeing some of these images from that concert pop up, or some of those
Yep.
video clips of Celine singing a song, or maybe there was
Yep.
a moment during that concert that you just took a pause and were like, this is my life. What's going to happen now? And like,
Yeah.
I bet that you had that feeling. Cause I know for me, like it happened here for me.
Yeah.
I take it back to like March 6th when I was in the doctor's office for my 37-week appointment. And I saw the nurses get all quiet and they ran to clamor together, and they were like, something's happening. They're shutting down the roads. They're transporting 60 people from a conference in Boston to one of the hospitals, and it's going in lockdown. I don't tell Dr. So and so. I don't know what's going on. And I
Yeah.
just remember sitting back there like trying to listen. Like, and I'm like, what does this mean? Like, the coronavirus is
Yeah.
here. I thought it
Yeah.
was something that was in a different world, like
Yep.
I didn't really believe it was going to be impacting us. And then it was something I felt like insider knowledge too. And I just started getting scared. And
Yeah.
it's weird because you could just take yourself right back into those moments and just remember them. So for you, I would want you to go and find those pictures. So you would go, are they, I'm assuming they're on your phone, right?
They are on my phone. I feel like I probably have them in various drives, Google, potentially iCloud, but I struggle to organize it all. So they're there. They're all in multiple formats.
Yep.
But what I mean, I know they're there, but because of your prompt, but now what? What do I
So
do?
I would choose for this specific problem, I would choose like 3 to 5 images that really speak to you, and to start thinking
Mm,
about the story that you would want to tell later about
yeah.
those images. Because what they are right now are just digital data on your phone that has
Yeah.
nothing. Like there's nothing that's going
Yeah.
to happen with them unless you actually pull them out and put them into a certain spot that like you can
Yeah.
print. For us, honestly, like thinking this through as we were organizing it, like we are busy moms. We have babies. I think your son's 10 months old. I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. I don't have time to like print everything out right now, stick them into albums and handwrite
Yeah.
beautiful captions. Like we need to do something very tangible that we can
Yeah.
start saving them and push a pin in it and just hit pause.
Yeah.
So, what I would want you to do is to use your phone as like your little file system and
Yeah.
create a new album that's called Pandemic Memories, or called
Yeah.
something about the pandemic that you're just starting to try to process, or
Yeah.
processing the pandemic.
Yeah.
You can even call it hindsight in 2021, like what we're doing. uh,
Yeah.
and start pulling these key images that start popping up in your brain when you're thinking of the pandemic, that are like pulling the stories out. Like I
Yeah.
don't, I just, that's kind
Well,
of
so
yeah.
the platform's best. Like, if it's a cloud, it should it be on the drive. So even like before that, where should I start with? Do you have like a file that do you recommend iCloud? Because sometimes I can't get into cloud kind of thing. Like, do you have like a even when you say to make an album, what would be the easiest place for me, knowing my time is limited and so is my patience, unfortunately.
I know. Well, okay, so that's like a loaded-ish question. In a
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Um, the the problem is like the whole backup system. That's the next course I'm working on trying to create to help people with
Yeah,
like it's like my perfectly imperfect way of doing this shit because it takes so
yeah,
long. Um,
yeah,
it's I really hate iCloud, honestly. Like it's really hard to find your pictures.
yeah.
I throw everything up in Amazon because I'm a Prime member and it's a lot
Okay,
easier to organize there. So I have all my photos automatically backed up there. But
okay.
without going
Smart.
into all that, because I think that'll just shuffle this overwhelm. It's as simple
Yeah,
as creating a shared album on your phone. When
yeah,
you I don't know if you know how to do that, but in your I
yeah,
think you have iPhone,
yeah,
you can create either a base album or you can create a shared album.
yeah,
The base album will live on your phone and in your iCloud structure, like however your photos are saved on your phone right now.
yeah,
If they're backed up however they're backed up, it's going to be stored there if it's just that one folder. But if
Yeah.
you create a shared album, it'll live in that shared world. I don't know exactly
Okay.
what that is.
No, I get, okay, I
Yeah.
get what you're saying, but only through you telling me that am I realizing, like, I have got stuff right now in whatever albums that are on my phone, just taking up the data, like you said, and then I have shared. So you're recommending I'm doing something and I'm doing it in the shared. I'm taking the where and I'm popping in the shared.
The cool thing with the popping it in the shared is that if you delete it off your phone, like you run out of space,
It's, is it still there? Because
it's
that's
shared. Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
so that's cool. And you can download them from there still, and like we can like save these later more a little bit more, because
Yeah.
I ideally want you to start like collecting like you. And right now, honestly, what I'm doing is I'm doing a little bit of both so that I have it in
Yeah.
2 spots, because I'm crazy. I'm creating a standard album on my phone because I have enough
Okay.
room, and I'm dumping them in there while I just start IDing these photos. And then I'm going to save those ones to a shared album and ultimately get them up into Amazon so that they're backed
Yeah.
up there too. But in each of
I
the,
need to take your second course already. I'm already like,
I
sorry,
know, I got to get this
but yes.
out of me. Like it's all in my brain and I need to get it on.
Yes, yes.
But
But we can, but me starting with the shared and the where, I'm there. Okay, so I've got my shared album.
it's just a
What
single album.
what do I do next?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just going to start dumping those pictures that come up when you read a prompt or you hear of a prompt that like triggers a memory about the pandemic. And that's
Yeah.
going to automatically shuffle through like 90% of your photos, because I think,
Yeah.
yeah, we've been in a pandemic for a year and a half, but there's certain ones that are key images in your brain.
What are some prompts? Like, I
Yeah.
know that you have some because I know that you've taught others, you've taught me. Like, can you remind me
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
some
I'm just gonna
some
look at my
prompts?
little
Like,
list here because I like wrote some
yeah,
down just to keep us like
yeah,
keep remembering it. So some
yeah,
ideas that come up to mind are like, what did your birth look like? What was it like when you were going to the hospital? Your experience behind that, like
yeah.
us giving birth during a pandemic is completely different than what it was like before, because, and I know because I had a baby not in
You,
a pandemic.
yes,
Like,
you've done both. I that's still incredible
yeah,
every day. I'm like, how one, and I'm overwhelmed enough, but yes, you've done it.
I know how it happens, but
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I don't
Oh, what's that? That's our mom jokes. That's our
know.
mom jokes.
So it's really like thinking about these stories. So like, what was your birth experience like? How did your
Yeah,
plans change? So
yeah,
like, I mean, even without the pandemic, my birth plan changed completely with my first child, which is
yeah,
kind of a funny thing to document anyway. But I'm sure
yeah,
there's images associated with that. So there's what your birth looked like, what your worries were
yeah.
leading up to it, what was happening in the grocery stores at the time. Could
Yep.
you find toilet paper? Like could you get formula when you came home from the hospital and your milk hadn't come in? Like who couldn't come to the hospital to see your baby? Were you alone? Did you have a baby shower? Like were you in person with people when you had a baby shower? Were they sending things that, I know, Megan, like people were sending them to your
Yep.
house and you were by yourself like zooming it
Yep.
out? Like I don't know.
We did, and I feel compelled to say I feel so fortunate that we were able to celebrate, but the celebration was me, and my husband, and the gifts that we're so thankful for, but had been dropped off to us, in these big plastic bags because we still didn't know, and they still don't. There's so much they don't know about the way that the virus transfers, but we had plans to have a baby shower, which my family was really looking forward to putting on, and those were all changed and became gifts brought to us in bags. And my husband and I opened them, and we treasure each and every one of them. But that experience that was initially going to be a collective celebration of us and our son became um, uh, me and my husband opening gifts by ourselves in our living room. And that was just different and hard. And you saying that prompt makes me realize, yes, I have photos of that. And I don't even know if I ever shared them. Or I think I shared some of them, but there's more that I feel like I want to share them because I am so grateful. But it was also hard and different and not what we were expecting.
Right. And that's the story. It's like those stories are there. And if all I saw was a picture of you on a couch surrounded by buckets of presents, I don't know that I would know that. I wouldn't know that
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
20 years from now, or 50 years from now, or even 100 years from now. And
Yeah.
these stories that I want us to start thinking about capturing. And that brings me to my next point of like what to do with
Yeah.
this stuff. So
Yeah.
like, I think I wasn't sure that I was going to give prompts out after this or whatever, but I do
Yeah.
think it might be worth it for people to have like a list of some ideas to just trigger some thoughts. Um,
Yeah.
so that
I'm gonna make, no matter what I'm saying, please. So
we need
I
it.
guess if you release, that's amazing. But either way, I am gonna chase you for the prompts because the ones you've given me so far are so helpful. And
Yeah.
I
And
agree with you.
it just
Yeah.
keeps, it's almost like it's not a checklist, but it is. It's like for when we have
Yeah.
time, we don't have time. It's like pick
Yeah.
when you're doing your nightly scroll at night, instead of like just scrolling on Instagram, why don't you pick one of these prompts, go find a
Yeah.
picture, email yourself the story and attach the picture to it and just send it in.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
real life stuff, and it's as simple as we can do it to just keep these push pins in these moments. It's just
Yeah.
pausing these times. And
I love that you're saying push pin too. Like that's something I can understand. Like I hear checklist and it is a checklist, but I think of all the other things as a mom that I have to do on my checklist that aren't done. But you're telling me push pin and I'm like, I can do that and I need to do that because I want to do that. I'm
it's
ready to pin those memories
it's
with
like
your help because I can't do it on my own.
it's like also I like stick post-its on everything. It's like that.
Yeah.
Like it's not there.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like pretending it's like you're writing a little note on it. You
Yeah.
can also do that in your phone. And I don't think I'm
Yeah.
gonna make a reel about this because I know this is important.
Yeah.
In your images, if you go into your like photo gallery, it's on
Okay.
both Google phones and iPhones. You click on the photo and you can scroll up a little bit, and it like has this whole like details box that you can add captions into.
This
So
is another course you need
I
to,
know
I need a whole
it's
nother
awesome.
thing on that.
So what that actually does is it starts
Yeah.
keywording your images so that later if you go in and write type say baby shower,
Yeah.
it'll pull that picture up. It doesn't
Yeah.
Google and your like iPhone has all that AI right now where it's like
Yeah.
able to tell that it's a picture of you on a couch, but it doesn't know it's your baby shower. So
Right.
you add that caption in, it's gonna pull that up later. So when we do have time, I don't know when that is because I haven't gotten that far in my motherhood journey, but like when we do
Yeah.
have time to pull this together, we can go through and search our images if we start adding those keywords into these captions. And
That's
that's just
so
available
powerful.
in the palm of our hand on our phones. So
Yeah.
I'll create a reel because I think that will be
Please do.
like that. I've highlighted it in my notes because I know I
Okay.
forget.
Yeah.
Also, y'all watching this, if you don't see a reel, you tell me where's that
Yeah.
reel.
Everybody reach out to Frame of Life Project, please, because I know you're good for it because I know you and I've admired you for years. And that's also a whole nother episode that you guys can revisit. But uh, the way that you know how to take what's already on our phones and make more from it is just something that I can't wait to continue to learn from you.
Yeah.
What I mean, so what else do we want to, I know we wanted to
So
keep this
yeah, I want
short,
to
sweet. What are we
start
missing?
so there's like it's like I think it's going to be driven by these prompts, like coming up with ideas of like what the stories are that you want to document. And there's different ways you can share it. You can email it to yourself, you can email it to your
Okay.
friend, you can share it on Instagram if you feel so inclined. Like
Yeah.
you could put it into we use Tiny Beans in my family, so like I
Yeah.
share everything
Yeah.
on Tiny Beans all the time. So it's maybe starting to tailor that, and you can go back if you're using Tiny Beans, you can put photos into different dates, so like we can go back in time
Yeah.
and still fill that in with the story and save it in those little journals there.
Yeah.
You can use these prompts if you're not picture driven or you don't take a lot of pictures and videos. You can use these
Yeah.
prompts to guide you in writing a journal. Like maybe buy yourself something that is like a new
Yeah.
paper journal to start and handwrite, or you can do it in a Google Doc, a simple Google Doc. Just take the prompt
Yeah.
and type your story out, and then we can print that into a book later. Like there's
Yeah.
many ways to take these stories and start to bring them into fruition, into something more. I would love to see a community of us all like sharing our stories, like and feeling it. Like you did a live
Yeah.
today. I know it's going to time date our time when we're talking, but whatever. You did a live today with a mom who had a preemie baby in the middle of a pandemic, and
Yeah.
seeing her tears come out from like explaining the experience of not only just having a preemie baby, but being in a pandemic and being alone. And like, there's just so much that we only know. Like generations before us have never experienced this. This might happen again. We can't guarantee that this won't ever happen again to our kids. And now having our kids, it's like
Yeah.
the thought of that, like I don't want to be 90 years old and have no brain cells left and not be able
Yep.
to, like I already am dumb enough
Yep.
now. Like I can't
No,
imagine
I know what
90
you mean.
years
I
from
know.
now trying to tell them what
I know.
happened and that I get it. And
Yeah.
I want them to be able to look at that because I feel like we're growing
Yeah.
very thick skins right now.
Yeah.
That
I keep coming back to, I know what you're doing, you're helping guide me with, and will help guide everyone else is the analogy of like and I feel like there's a Rugrats episode or something where it's like, you're like, oh yeah, grandpa, like, you've told that story like 80 times. It's like hypothetical grandpa, right? Like, yeah, we get it. Like back in my day, but like, I feel so compelled to make sure that in the most genuine way possible, we don't forget this set of days that we're still in, that we're still going through. But I feel as though working with you and following more of what you continue to produce will help me contextualize that and make it so we're not just a back in my day, because I'm gonna get old. Like I don't never thought I was cool, but I'm gonna keep like going that way. But to make something tangible and not just let it disappear on my phone is gonna help me. And I know it's gonna help us explain it to our kids in a way that they're not just like, oh, that's that crazy old person with their story. It's like, holy, like
yeah.
that's so.
Well, and it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
I understand like all of us have histories and like everybody has gone through something. And it's like my family in the Holocaust and like all of it, like these things existed, but there weren't as many photos and ways for us to actually like tell these stories so much more visually. And
Yeah.
it's it's real stuff. And I know how much more I want to know from these generations past of what they went through and their experience.
Yeah.
I don't have that. And
Yeah.
it goes into my heart, like of like what I want to have for my generations to come. And I can give it because I care and I want this. And I think everybody watching
Yeah.
this and everybody who's here have those same feelings. They
Yeah.
want to process what we've been through and share it and try to remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some great things that have come from it and there's some incredible challenges and I just think we've learned so much and it's already fleeting. It's amazing
Yeah.
how like if I'm not consciously trying to think about what was happening or how I felt
Yep.
those times, like I couldn't even go for I found a picture of my daughter we both had our masks on and she's like doing this to my face and it totally triggered the fact that like I couldn't even call on the phone because she would grab the phone and go talk to people and I wanted to talk to people and I couldn't get
Yeah.
out of my house and like we would go on walks and I'm carrying a baby and pushing a stroller.
Yeah.
This is all I have is my outlet. Like
Yeah.
I forgot about those intense feelings of like I can't even talk to people.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I
like you lose everything. So it's just
we're not we're
crazy.
not going to let each other forget, and I know that that is a big part of your mission to help other moms and parents not forget, and do so in a way that is custom to them. Like I love that you said it doesn't need to be something that's shared, but it could be. And I do like sharing. So I know that I'm a consumer of sharing on social. And so for me, that I think is something that probably will be how it translates, but it doesn't have to be. It could be journaling, it could be audio recordings you taught me how to do the other day. Embarrassingly enough, I didn't know how to do them, but it can be anything. Yeah. I know, I did. I was like, oh, okay. These are only things I would do accidentally. But I know we wanted to keep this somewhat short, but make sure to ask at the end, from you guys who've continued to watch this. First, thank you, and also, what have you learned through this short piece?
Yeah, what are the
Oh, and now this is the part where everyone cheers.
here? What did
But just we want to know what you've learned and the way in which you can get in touch with us. If you know us personally, reach out via cell, but also if you just know us online, which I think many of you guys do, reach out to us via email, comment on this video. We're going to be reading the comments. It's the two of us. and our families that are really invested to our mission. And we look forward to hearing from you what you learned from this, and continuing to guide, but also learn alongside you as we learn as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to really dive into this more. And it's just, there's a lot there. Like,
Yep.
but just giving yourself that time and space to just do it a little bit at a time. And it does not have to be perfect. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be complete either. It's just starting. Do one
Yeah.
and one little, there's so many millions of stories we could tell, but it's just start,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Thank you. And thank you, Kiera, for helping me start, because I needed and wanted to start. And thank you all for watching. And we look forward to hearing from you what your comments are, and what this brought up for you. And we look forward to continuing to see you. And thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Cody.
How to stop this. Oh, there it is.